Welcome, friend, to the business of personal brand photography. My name is Paula Brennan. I am your host, and I'm very excited that you've decided to join me today because I want to tell you about a call that I had recently with a really, really beautiful photographer. Like, this woman was so exceptionally talented, so thoughtful about her client experience. She'd built this beautiful space and she'd clearly poured all of her whole heart into her business. But unfortunately, she was on the call with me feeling completely defeated, so deflated, and like really close to tears because her portrait bookings had dried up. Sales recently have been inconsistent. Look, she was still getting the occasional big win. Those clients who love everything and buy it all, but more and more what she was hearing from her clients, or she shared with me, was this kind of sentiment that was like, oh my gosh, we'd love to have this, but we just can't afford it right now. And because she's not in a community of other photographers, she thought that she was the only one who was struggling like this. Scrolling on Instagram, watching all the other portrait photographers in her area post client sneak peeks and big print reveals. And she was thinking, well, why can't I make it anymore? And look, honestly, within the first 10 minutes of our call, I could see so many opportunities in her business that she just couldn't see because she was simply stuck in survival mode. She wasn't failing. It's just also too that the market had shifted, but she hadn't been told that. And I think that's, what I was wanting to talk to you guys about today in today's episode, because right now I'm seeing this again and again, especially from family photographers, boudoir photographers, newborns, a lot of people who are serving that domestic market. So if you've been feeling like your business has lost a little bit of momentum lately, if your clients are still loving your work, but they're just not buying like they used to, or if you've been maybe like quietly wondering if maybe you're the problem, then my friend, this episode is for you because I want you to feel seen. Okay? I want to talk to you about why this is happening and what you can do maybe to move through this without swirling into shame or spiraling yourself. Okay. Let's talk about right now, honestly, what's been going on, because the portrait market, and I'm particularly talking about the luxury family and boudoir, has been really hard hit over the last year or two. Okay. We're living in a time of extreme cost of living pressures. You can't turn on the news without hearing about this, and you can't go to the grocery shop without knowing about it, right? People are being a lot more cautious with their discretionary spending. And so, yes, certain markets are going to be hard hit when that happens. And even though your clients want to invest with you, they're making more emotionally loaded decisions about where their money is going at the moment. Okay. And look, at the same time, we're also contending with things like these AI softwares that can edit photos from the iPhone and make them look amazing. And we're looking at a culture really where people are used to having just good enough photos in their pockets every day. I remember one of my clients saying to me, look, the school photos are amazing. I don't need to she didn't feel the need to have family portraits every year. So when you're in front of them then offering them a $2,000 folio box or a $3,000 wall art packages, it's not that they don't want it. It's just harder for them to say yes to you right now. And I want to be really clear, and I want to be really, 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 really kind of drill this in. This is not a reflection on your work or on who you are or your value or your worth as a business owner. No, it's not. Okay. Because this is just a market thing. Okay. And I know that this part of things can actually feel the heaviest because it's really easy to think that you're the only one that this is happening to, because no one wants to go out there on Instagram and admit it. But I am having strategy calls every single week with photographers, mostly women in their 40s and 50s, who've been running really strong businesses. And now they're feeling like they're doing something wrong just because things aren't flowing like they used to. Okay. So if that's you, I'm just going to say this out loud once again. You're not failing. The market has shifted and it's okay. So now that we've acknowledged that, got that one out of the way, let's talk strategy, because that's what I'm all about. Because I'm not just here to say, hang in there. I want to help you to shift with the market. Okay. So there are a few things that I think you might be able to consider in order to be able to stay buoyant and to even do really well in this market and supersede maybe some of the negativity that perhaps is going on around you or even just swirling in your head. So let's have a look at the first thing I want to talk about. And I know that this is probably going to be really controversial because it goes against the grain of what a lot of people teach and what I myself used to do in my own space. But have you thought about offering digitals as a backup during your in-person sales? Okay. You might have a digital package that's only available when you're doing prints. But, and look, here's the thing. I know that you want to see your work on people's walls. And I know that you really value the art of the print. But if somebody loves their photos and just can't swing the $2,000 for a framed piece right now, have you got a digital only package in your back pocket that you can just pull out? Because that can be your get out of jail free card. Okay. It doesn't necessarily need to be offered to everybody else. And I don't think that this is in any way you being dishonest or doing business in a crooked way or anything like that. I just want you to think about maybe you might have an option when you are just sitting on the edge of somebody like, really going down, maybe thinking about just buying one or two prints. Perhaps there's a way that you can bolster the sale, help them, serve them better to be able to get some more images off you and then maybe remove the price of the production by just giving them the digital files. Okay. So you might say something like, I want you to have something from this experience. So here's an option that might feel a little bit more doable right now. Okay. You've still made a sale and they're still walking away with something beautiful. And I know that it might not be exactly what you want them to walk away with or what you've been conditioned to believe that you need to sort of be selling to them, but that might just be the way that you can serve them better and also obviously serve yourself and your business better as well. Now, my second thing that I was going to sort of suggest that might be an option for you is maybe you could be blending your portrait and business photography together as well. Because you're listening to this podcast, I suspect you're already maybe doing headshots and branding, but perhaps you've just been courting the idea of it. And maybe you've been trying to keep the world separate. Well, now I'm just kind of going to consider to you or put it out to you. Perhaps if you're doing a family session, could you also do a few headshots or personal brand style images for one of the parents? They're there, they're dressed, they look great. Why not just tick off help them to tick two birds with one stone? Because that means that now that part of the session could be tax deductible for them, which is a major bonus. And they feel like they've made a smart financial decision, not just an indulgent one. Okay. Now, I know that we know that, creating family memories is not necessarily an indulgence, but at certain times, it might feel like that when perhaps you're struggling to pay your mortgage, trying to, think about stripping away extra things for the family because you want to have a nice print on the wall might sort of feel like an indulgence at that time. Okay. So maybe this might be something that you can do to help them to be able to, as I said, get some business off their plate, literally, and also be able to spend a little bit more comfortably with you because they can tax deduct that part of the shoot or even all of it if they want to go that way. Now, the third thing I was going to suggest for you is maybe you could slightly diversify your offer, okay? So if you're not offering headshots, branding, or small business sessions yet, but you've been thinking about it, what are you waiting for? Now is the time, my friend, okay? Because these business markets tend to be more stable during economic shifts because they often tied to business expenses, not personal splurges, okay? Because obviously, again, we've been talking about the tax deductibility about it. But also too, I find that when things are tight, businesses do have to knuckle down and focus on their marketing. So it is an area that when perhaps they're a little bit quieter, they're probably going to turn their heads and go, well, hang on a second, we need to focus on upping our game, improving our website, improving our overall social media presence because the work isn't just coming to us like it used to, okay? So that might be somewhere that you can do and think about, diversifying. And look, you don't need to completely pivot, right? You don't have to do that entirely. You just make room for new streams of income alongside of the portrait work that you love. And of course, oftentimes the clients are the same, right? So they might come to you for a portrait and then they might come to you for a headshot and then discover that you're amazing and look at your portraiture on your wall and then become a portrait client. So they can become nice feeders for each other on both sides of the business. The last thing I kind of wanted to maybe suggest for you to have a look at is maybe for some collaborative pop-ups. So this is like reaching out to maybe like your co-working spaces. It could be wellness studios or even like your women's networking groups. You can do things like offering headshots or mini brand session events. You might do one day of shooting where you've got lots of people coming through with minimal marketing, just relationship building and easy wins. So I don't want to see you ever fully pivot away from what you love if you're a portrait photographer, but there are definitely ways that you can kind of expand what you're doing and just be offering extra little bits of different types of content. And I want you to start thinking about perhaps your images as art and content alongside of each other, because yes, you're an artist, but you're also a content creator if you're looking at it from the business and the marketing space. So there are ways that you can use your clever, beautiful art skills to create clever, beautiful, art for businesses that's going to help them to do their promotions as well. Now, I do want to just say something to the women listening right now, who's maybe carrying a little bit of shame, maybe a bit of quiet shame around this. You have worked so hard. Yeah. You've built something from scratch and you've poured your energy, your creativity, your weekends, and your heart into this business. And it's okay if things have changed. Okay. It's okay to adapt. And it's more than okay to ask for help, because sometimes being in business is not always a straight line. Sometimes you do need a little bit of support, a little bit of help in it. Now, there's something that came up for me recently that I kind of want you to hold on to, especially when you're feeling like your business isn't maybe giving you the return that you expect right now. I recently went to a meeting at my daughter's school. It was all about the kids going into the next phase of life. She's finishing school. It was about university. It was about their next moves. And at the start of the presentation, they started out by saying this, that our kids are likely to have 15 careers, not just 15 jobs, 15 careers over the course of their lifetime. Isn't that wild? But it's true. We all go through like series and seasons of change, both in life and in business. And sometimes you do have to adapt and pivot and take a different path to find your next step. And that's okay. Okay. What I really wanted you to come out with today is that you don't need to feel stuck. And you don't have to keep doing things the same way if they're no longer working for you. This idea that you can only have one career or go in one direction in life, it's so outdated. Things are moving so quickly. So embrace the flexibility of being able to make little small changes in your business and then go down new paths to adapt along the way. Okay. Just remember this, you're in control of your story and your business isn't stuck forever. It's just going through a little shift, and that's part of the process of being in business. Now, if this episode has landed with you and you're thinking, oh my God, I just want someone to look at my business and help me to see what I'm not seeing, then I'd like to invite you to book a strategy call with me, because I do these because sometimes I just know all it takes is another set of eyes, someone who can just gently point you in the right direction or point out the opportunities that you've missed because you've been just too deep and too stuck in the weeds. So you can find a link for that in the show notes, or just DM me the word strategy on Instagram, and I'm going to shoot you the details on how you can book that call with me, because you know what, my friend, you're not alone in this, okay? And you're not behind. And I promise you, there is still so much possibility in your business. Take it from me. I've pivoted and changed a lot in my business. And every time it feels scary and I feel stuck for a season. And then all of a sudden there's a light that shines and I run hard at it. And there's a lot of opportunity that's on the other side of those little pivots and changes in your business. So my friend, I hope this has resonated with you, maybe helped you if you needed to hear this message today. If it has, I'd love to hear from you. Make sure you message me on Instagram and just let me know how you're going. And as I said, maybe book that strategy call with you. All right, my friend, until next time, you take care. Bye-bye for now.